In the heart of the Himalayas, where the sky meets the earth amidst a sea of white clouds, a magnificent world stands as a grand symphony of land and sky. From snow-covered Sagarmatha to Langtang, forests of bamboo and rhododendron, from the rainforests of Namdapha to the windswept Khan Serif Plateau, braving the biting winds in solitude, amidst the pulse of the high plateau. The Himalayan goral scales the gray rock, as resilient as mountain grass. The Marco Polo sheep imprints its spiraled horns on the thin snow. Wild horses, hyang, traverse the white, snow-covered slopes. High above, a mighty eagle carves through the clouds, searching for warm-up drafts. The Himalayan griffin vulture circles, a silent guardian of the mountain soul. In the damp forests, red-faced macaques stir the canopy with a rustle of leaves. The red panda moves through the trees as gentle as a small flame. During the brief summer, marmots follow the rhythms of life. The Himalayas are not just the roof of the world. It is a stage for trial, resilience, and hope. Every breath here is a testament to survival. Join us as we listen to the call of the wind in the mountains on a journey to discover the wonders of the natural world. The Himalayas, rooftop of the wild. Approximately 50 million years ago, the Indian plate began to collide with the Eurasian plate in a monumental tectonic process known as a continental collision. The collision caused the Earth's crust to compress and thrust upward, forging the Himalayan range, a colossal wall of rock and ice separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau. Over tens of millions of years, relentless tectonic forces have continued to push this mountain range skyward, until the Himalayas became the roof of the world, a gathering of the planet's highest peaks, among which Mount Everest towers at an altitude of 8,848 meters above sea level, earning its title as the very summit of our planet. At such a punishing altitude, the air grows dangerously thin, with oxygen levels falling to less than a third of those at sea level, making every single breath a monumental effort. Temperatures can plunge below -40 degrees Celsius. Ferocious blizzards sweep across without warning, and the death zone, above 8,000 meters, becomes the ultimate test of endurance for any who dare attempt the ascent. The Himalayas are not merely a testament to the tectonic power of the Earth, but also an icon of sublime majesty in brutal adversity. Its snow-draped peaks, sheer vertical cliffs, and deep, wind-scoured gorges all compose a natural canvas of breathtaking beauty and spine-chilling severity. And so it remains today. The mountain range continues to rise millimeter by millimeter each year, a colossal living entity still stirring between earth and sky. The Himalayas, one of the planet's most majestic natural wonders. It stretches over 2,400 kilometers, a colossal fortress wall standing guard between South Asia and the Tibetan plateau. Its width varies from 200 to nearly 400 kilometers, forming an immense topographical region, a world of ice-clad peaks, deep valleys, and colossal glaciers. The Himalayan range stretches across 5 nations: India, with the ranges of Kashmir and Uttarakhand; Nepal, home to the majestic Mount Everest; Bhutan, the kingdom of the Thunder Dragon; Tibet, with its vast plateau; and Pakistan, with the Karakoram Range and the proud summit of Cape. To the south, it serves as a natural shield. It protects the Indian subcontinent from the frigid winds of the north. To the north, it provides a sheltering roof for the Tibetan plateau, vast and unending. The range is more than a geographical boundary. It is also a bridge, connecting the ancient cultures and beliefs of Asia. Along the entire length of the Himalayas, one encounters a wondrous harmony, born of this majestic wilderness and the profound spiritual lives of humanity. To Hindus, the Himalayas are the sacred abode of the god Shiva. Mount Kailash is considered an inviolable sacred peak. For Buddhists, the monasteries, perched on steep mountainsides or tucked away in hidden valleys, have become centers of spiritual practice, preserving philosophies that transcend time. In Nepal, the Himalayas are the very soul of the nation, where the national flag flies atop the roof of the world, Everest. And in Bhutan, the range forms a natural fortress, protecting the small kingdom while nurturing traditions rooted in serenity and balance. More than just a sacred realm, the Himalayas are a shared home to a multitude of species, from elusive creatures concealed in the white snow to flocks of birds soaring past snow-capped peaks. On these treacherous, ice-covered cliffs, the snow leopard, an icon of the unseen, moves with ghostly silence. Its smoky gray coat blends seamlessly with the mountain rock, allowing it to virtually disappear into the landscape. In the deep valleys below, resilient herds of domestic yak have for generations been intertwined with the lives of nomadic peoples, providing milk, providing meat and vital warmth through the harsh winters. Himalayan brown bears and Tibetan wolves also make their home here. As the dominant predators of the mountain forests, they maintain the natural balance of the ecosystem. But it is not just the large mammals. This mountain range is also a sanctuary for many rare species, such as the musk deer with its prized musk gland, once relentlessly hunted, the slender yet resilient Tibetan antelope, and proud herds of wild goats poised on the slopes and sheer cliff faces. In the skies above, hundreds of species of migratory birds, including the dazzling Himalayan monal, the national bird of Nepal, along with great flocks of vultures, soaring on immense wings against the snow-covered sky. Our first journey takes us to Sagarmatha National Park, the sanctuary encircling the magnificent Mount Everest. Located in eastern Nepal, Sagarmatha has been designated a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site, not only for the presence of the roof of the world, but also for its unique ecosystem that stretches from temperate forests to a realm of permanent ice and snow. In the lower valleys, lush forests of pine, rhododendron, and juniper thrive, a haven where vibrant pheasants and gray langurs take cover in the foliage. Higher up, alpine meadows spread wide, grazed by herds of yak, peacefully browsing on the sparse vegetation. Marmots, antelope, and pikas weave through the terrain, searching for food. Sagarmatha is not merely a home to countless species. It is also a sacred land to the Sherpa people, a people whose lives have been intertwined with the Himalayas for generations. In the Nepali language, Sagarmatha means forehead of the sky, a name reminding us that this is where humanity touches the heavens, and the very gateway that leads us on a journey to discover the magnificent beauty and harshness of the Himalayas. But what makes this region truly extraordinary is Mount Everest, known as the roof of the world, soaring 29,029 feet amid the Himalayan range. It stands like a colossal wall of ice, a challenge to all of humankind. Yet this majestic facade conceals an unforgiving brutality. The terrain is treacherous with sheer vertical cliffs, bottomless crevasses, and deadly fissures, ready to swallow any who dare to trespass. The climate here is brutally extreme. Winds can gust over 100 miles per hour. Temperatures plummet below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. And the air is so thin that oxygen levels are less than 1/3 of those at sea level, making every step a monumental struggle. Above 26,000 feet, humans enter the death zone, a place where the body slowly breaks down, the mind grows clouded, and death is a constant shadow. Yet in this incredibly harsh realm, life persists, weaving through every rocky crevice, up the sheer mountain faces, and amidst the biting wind and snow. The Himalayan tar tenaciously holds its ground. With its thick, reddish-brown winter coat, which lightens with the coming of summer, They appear as warriors of the high peaks, cloaked in the camouflage of the mountainside. Their small but sturdy cloven hooves provide a sure-footed grip on ledges, barely a few inches wide, allowing them to leap across chasms with an agility that defies belief. As winter descends, blanketing the valleys in a deep shroud of snow, the tahr herds seek out cliffs kept clear of the heavy ice. Here they graze on the sparse lichen, moss, and dried grasses that remain, surviving on nature's meager, patient offerings. In the brief summer, the ice recedes to reveal green meadows. The herds once again climb high, grazing freely on the slopes, transforming the stark, cold rock into a living tapestry of renewal. The Himalayan tahr is an icon of immense vitality, of toughness, agility, and resilience. In places where it seems no life could possibly endure, they still hold their heads high, treading upon the frozen snow, proving that, even in the harshest corners of the earth, life will always find a way. But for the resilient creatures that cling to life, in this unforgiving land, they must always be wary of the snow leopard, the most powerful predator in this realm. The snow leopard is known as the ghost of the mountains for its elusive nature and perfect camouflage. Its thick, silvery gray coat, patterned with dark rosettes, allows it to virtually vanish against the rock and snow. Piercing eyes watch from a distance, patiently stalking its prey's every move. When the moment comes, the snow leopard strikes like a white arrow slicing through the wind. Its long, bushy tail provides balance as it leaps across treacherous cliffs, while powerful hind legs allow it to bound over 10 meters in an instant. The prey often has no time to react, hearing only a soft growl on the cold wind before succumbing to fang and claw. Though it is the lord of these high mountain slopes, the snow leopard remains a solitary creature, rarely revealing its presence. It is this very mystery that makes it a symbol of the formidable Himalayas, majestic and harsh, like the very mountains where they survive. March in the Himalayas. The unforgiving winter begins to recede, making way for the first breath of spring. Snow still blankets the highest peaks, but on the lower slopes, patches of ice have melted, revealing the first carpets of green grass. The air is still frigid, yet a hint of warmth now drifts on the wind, signaling that life is stirring once more. Amidst this silvery landscape, herds of yak stand out against the mountainsides, the iconic animal of the Himalayan plateau. With their massive frames and a dense, shaggy coat covering them from head to hoof, the yak appears cloaked, shielded against the biting wind and snow. They can thrive at altitudes over 4,000 meters, where the air is so thin that most other creatures would falter. Each of the yak's slow movements is sure-footed on this rugged terrain. Its enormous lungs, allowing them to breathe in the oxygen-scarce environment, and a resilient stomach allows them to digest even the tough, arid grasses of the mountainsides. More than just a creature of the wild, the yak is deeply intertwined with human life in the Himalayas. They provide milk and meat, wool and draft power for the nomadic peoples, while also serving as steadfast companions on these perilous journeys. The sight of a yak caravan moving in single file, crossing a snow-swept valley, the gentle clanging of their bells echoing on the frigid wind, has become the signature sound of this land, the very roof of the world. Here, in one of nature's most unforgiving realms, the yak stands as a testament to the power of resilience and the remarkable adaptability of life. Wild yaks travel in herds, traversing the vast valleys, at times ascending treacherous slopes, in search of fresh pastures. In the Himalayas, the yak is more than just livestock. It is a lifelong partner to the mountain dwellers. Domesticated by nomads thousands of years ago, it has become the very soul of life on the plateau. They bear heavy loads of goods on their backs, navigating treacherous mountain passes. Their milk is churned into butter and cheese, and their dense wool is woven into warm textiles, keeping warm through the unforgiving winter. This is also the season of the Himalayan wolf. At its most active, in the biting cold that lingers after winter. As the herds of goats and sheep begin to move farther in search of fresh shoots, the wolf pack silently follows. The Himalayan wolf has a thick coat of pale, yellow-tinged gray, its body lean yet incredibly agile. Its seemingly sleepy eyes conceal a formidable and unpredictable cunning. They typically hunt in small, coordinated packs, silently encircling their prey on the windswept steppes or across the desolate mountain slopes. By May, as spring reaches its zenith, the Himalayan slopes erupt with new life. The high snows begin to melt, feeding glacial streams that carve through the rock, nourishing carpets of lush new grass. And on the earth, finally freed from winter's grip, clusters of wildflowers rush to bloom, as if racing against the fleeting warmth of the season. Fiery red rhododendrons blaze across the hillsides, while deep violet primroses form a soft, velvety carpet. Interspersed among them are the rare, ethereal blue poppies, casting an almost mystical hue. The entire mountainside is transformed into a living tapestry of color, a brilliant yet fragile spectacle against the majestic landscape. The spring breeze carries the gentle fragrance of blossoms, softening the memory of the landscape's harshness. It is a rare moment. When the Himalayas reveal a gentler side, the frost yields to a brief season of blossoms, one of breathtaking brilliance. Amidst the tender grasses newly risen from the frost, the Himalayan marmot makes its appearance, the small sentinels of the high plateau. Their stout bodies are cloaked in golden brown fur, their round, bright eyes glittering with life. They blend skillfully with the colors of the meadow, making them difficult to spot against the mountain terrain. Marmots live in small colonies, digging deep, winding burrows into the earth, complete with chambers for hibernation, nurseries for their young, and pantries to store food. Spring and summer are when they venture out most often. One by one, a head emerges from a burrow entrance, taking in the warm alpine air, before waddling out onto the lush green pasture. Under the May sun, they often bask on warm slabs of rock, drying their fur while keeping a vigilant watch on the sky. At the mere sight of the circling eagle's shadow, or the faintest unfamiliar sound, one marmot instantly unleashes a piercing cry, a shrill alarm call that echoes across the valley. In an instant, the entire colony scrambles for cover, vanishing in a flash, leaving the meadow silent once more. The Himalayan marmot is a gentle herbivore, feeding on tender grass shoots, plants, and seeds. Their very presence adds a vibrant life to the alpine meadows, while also playing a vital role in the food chain. They are a primary food source for the snow leopard, the Tibetan wolf, and even the steppe eagle. But for this very reason, they have become a symbol of vigilance and agility, always living in a delicate balance between leisurely, enjoying the warm season, and the ever-present anxiety of lurking predators. In the glorious month of May, when wildflowers blanket the mountainsides and green grass carpets the land, the calls of the marmots echo across the expanse. It is a profound reminder that, even in one of the world's most unforgiving environments, life still finds a way to flourish, vibrant and resilient in its fight to endure. But they share these highlands with a close relative, the Himalayan pika, a creature dwarfed by the marmot's size. The pika appears as a curious cross between a rabbit and a mouse, with its charmingly rounded ears, a body small enough to fit in the palm of a hand, and a thick, plush coat for warmth against the high-altitude chill. Unlike the marmots, they do not dig deep burrows. Instead, they take refuge in rock crevices or dense thickets of grass during the month of May. As a lush carpet of young grass spreads across the foothills, the pika scurries about busily, gathering mouthfuls of grass and carrying them back to its larder among the rocky crevices. The Himalayan pika is renowned for its unique habit of collecting grass and drying it in small piles, creating what are known as hay piles for the winter. They stockpile this food to survive the long frozen months when foraging is impossible. Their clear, chirping calls echo across the mountainside, like the ringing of tiny bells in the vast, silent air. Though small and seemingly fragile, the pika plays a crucial role in the Himalayan ecosystem. It acts as a tiny farmer, seeding the meadows, while also serving as a vital food source for numerous predators such as foxes, owls, and hawks. But for all its diligence as a farmer of the highlands, the pika must remain ever vigilant for the golden eagle, one of the most formidable birds of prey and the most notorious hunter here. Against the crystal-clear Himalayan sky, the eagle's wingspan, stretching over 6 feet, glides silently like the shadow of a cloud. Its sharp, cold eyes scan the mountainside. The slightest detection of movement is all it needs to dive like an arrow. But what casts a shadow of dread across this range is the vulture, the Himalayan griffon vulture. With a colossal wingspan of nearly 10 feet, they circle silently in the deep azure sky, like great dark specters gathering overhead. Their piercing eyes scan the slopes below, waiting for the moment a life succumbs to the bitter cold. Unlike eagles, the Himalayan griffon vulture does not hunt live prey, but their presence is inextricably linked to death. Any creature that falls in a blizzard, on a high pass or a rocky precipice, will soon be discovered by a descending flock. Their immense forms descend, their wings beating the air with the force of hammers, their sharp beaks tearing through frozen flesh. On these desolate slopes, their harsh, rasping calls echo, a chilling harbinger of death. And it is this very role, as scavengers of the high plateau, that makes the Himalayan griffon both an object of fear and a silent, vital custodian, maintaining the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Farther to the north, the Komalangma National Nature Preserve stretches out like a great natural rampart, encompassing the northern foothills of Mount Everest. This is a realm where the air is so thin that every breath feels measured. The wind bites at the skin, and the sky is an impossibly deep blue. Vast, desolate steppes stretch to the horizon, a tapestry of withered golden grasses swaying in the sun. This is the domain of the Tibetan antelope, moving silently like phantoms across the stony plains. Amidst the grassy slopes and frigid steppes of the Himalayas, a fleeting shadow reveals the Himalayan fox, a small but exceptionally cunning predator. With its thick, sandy gray coat, pointed ears, and a long bushy tail, it blends almost perfectly into the arid, rocky terrain. But its most striking feature is its broad face, with narrow, slanted eyes that create a strangely solemn expression so different from other fox species. It lends the creature an air that is both cold and inscrutable. Yet for all its cunning and agility, the fox must always be wary of the sovereign of the skies, the golden eagle. Their wingspan can exceed 6 feet, with eyes as sharp as tempered steel. This magnificent raptor scans the mountainsides, detecting the slightest stir of movement from miles away. The great Himalayan eagle is not merely the king of the skies. It is also profoundly woven into the spiritual life of the nomadic peoples. To them, the sight of this eagle soaring against the heavens is a symbol of strength, freedom, and endurance in these unforgiving mountains. During ceremonies for peace and protection, its feathers are sometimes hung from wooden poles, like a sacred talisman, meant to safeguard their families and livestock. Nomadic children grow up beneath the shadow of its wings, listening to the tales of their elders, who speak of the great eagle as the guardian of the sky, heralding the coming of both the hunting and monsoon seasons. And in the simple rhythm of life on this high plateau, the presence of this bird becomes a sacred thread connecting humankind to the natural world. A reminder that they are but a small part of a vast and ancient world over which this king of the sky reigns supreme. Leaving the arid highlands behind, our journey takes us to Langtang National Park. Here, nature's bounty is on full display. Lush forests of rhododendron and pine whisper in the mountain wind. Located just north of Kathmandu, Langtang is renowned for its diverse landscapes, stretching from verdant valleys to eternally snow-capped peaks. And it is here, within these dense bamboo forests, that we encounter the red panda, a rare jewel of the Himalayas. With its petite frame and a shimmering reddish-brown coat, and a long, bushy tail adorned with striking rings, the red panda moves with deliberation from branch to branch, its dark eyes bright and clear, as if safeguarding an ancient secret of the mountains. They lead quiet, elusive lives beneath the forest canopy, feeding primarily on bamboo shoots, tender leaves, and fruit, rarely glimpsed by human eyes. In the untamed forest of the Himalayas, the red panda lives a slow and unhurried life. By day, it often curls up to sleep high on a branch, secure amidst the dense foliage. As dusk falls, the red panda awakens, moving stealthily along the branches, in search of tender shoots and ripe fruit. They are solitary animals, each individual typically holding its own territory, communicating only through high-pitched twitters and the scent marks left on trees. Its small size and reclusive nature make this creature seem a mere phantom, a fleeting presence in the ancient forest. It is enough to create an aura of mystery, yet it also leaves one to wonder, offering a rare, intimate glimpse. In the forests of bamboo and rhododendron, deep within Langtang National Park, here the most vibrant chorus often emanates from troops of gray langurs. They possess a coat of silvery gray fur that shimmers in the sunlight, a jet-black face highlighted by bright, intelligent eyes, and a tail that can be several times the length of their body, used for balance as they navigate the canopy. Langurs are not solitary creatures. They congregate in sizable troops, each with a clearly defined social hierarchy. A dominant male leads the troop, while the females and their young form the very core of the group. By day, the troop moves through the forest, foraging for tender leaves, shoots, and wild fruits. Their feeding is accompanied by a chorus of resonating calls, partly to maintain contact with one another, and partly to assert their territory against rival troops. During periods of rest, several adult males will climb to the highest vantage points, standing sentinel. Their watchful eyes scan the forest for any sign of movement, ready to sound the alarm at the sight of a snow leopard, a dole, or a large eagle patrolling the area. What makes these langurs truly remarkable is the powerful bond within the troop. They frequently engage in social grooming, play with the juveniles, and protect the more vulnerable members of their society. In the early morning hours, as sunlight dapples through the forest canopy, the sight of a langur troop gathering together, their soft calls mingling with the rustling leaves, transforms the forest into a living village, nestled in the untamed wilderness. June is also when the Valley of Flowers in the state of Uttarakhand, India, a hidden jewel of the Himalayas, unfurls its full splendor. After a long winter blanketed in snow and ice, the entire valley, spanning 10 square kilometers, is awakened by hundreds of species of wildflowers, bursting into a symphony of color. Deep crimson rhododendrons, celestial blue poppies, and violet primulas, alongside brilliant yellow buttercups, weave together to form a vast living tapestry, stretching across the mountain landscape. Wisps of white cloud drift by, while streams from melting glaciers murmur through the meadows. Bees and butterflies dance on the breeze. It all creates an ethereal spectacle, a scene seemingly lifted from the pages of a fairy tale. More than just a natural wonder, and a recognized UNESCO World Heritage Site, the valley is a testament to the enduring vitality of the Himalayas. Here, in one of the planet's most frigid and formidable environments, a realm of poetic beauty persists, where the colors of summer bloom, ephemeral yet magnificent. A poignant reminder that even in adversity, nature reveals its most brilliant splendor. Leaving this valley of peace behind, we journey to the most biodiverse forest in all of Asia, the Namdapha National Park in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, India. Nestled adjacent to the eastern Himalayas, where mist-shrouded mountain ranges meet a verdant carpet of tropical rainforest. Namdapha spans nearly 2,000 square kilometers, a home to hundreds of species of mammals, birds, and insects. It is also one of the very few places on Earth that is home to 4 species of big cats: the majestic Bengal tiger, the elusive leopard, the clouded leopard concealed within the forest canopy, and the mysterious snow leopard of the high mountains. As dawn breaks in the Namdapha forest, hoolock gibbons perch on the highest branches, catching the first sunlight that pierces through the thick mist. From here, their resonant calls echo far and wide, reverberating through the valley like the forest's morning greeting. With arms twice the length of their bodies, hoolock gibbons swing through the bamboo branches and flowering rhododendrons, moving with a soft, dance-like grace. They live in small family groups, with pairs typically forming lifelong bonds, raising their young and defending their territory together with their distinctive, lingering songs. At times urgent, at others melodic. Amidst the diverse landscapes of Southeast Asia, the white-cheeked gibbon is the very rhythm of life, at once wild and intimately familiar, filling the forest with sound and vitality. What's fascinating about the white-cheeked gibbon is the striking difference between males and females. The males typically possess a coat of sleek, jet-black fur, their faces framed by a circle of brilliant white fur, standing out like a mask. The females, in contrast, are cloaked in shades of brown, gold or pale cream, with a darker face. Their large eyes gleam with a gentle nature, yet they remain ever vigilant. This striking contrast means that when a family group gathers high in the canopy, they appear from below as a tapestry of color, a rich interweaving of black and gold, shimmering in the jungle sunlight. Thanks to this feature, a mere glance through the green canopy is enough to reveal which is the majestic male and which is the female tenderly caring for her young. During the monsoon season, the southwest monsoon winds sweep in from the Bay of Bengal, carrying with them colossal amounts of moisture. This moisture collides with the mountainsides of Arunachal Pradesh and unloads upon the forests of Namdapha. The rain falls as if the very sky is emptying itself, transforming trickling streams into raging whitewater torrents, drenching the entire forest and steeping it in a humidity so thick, it's almost tangible. The bamboo canopies, rhododendrons, and wild orchids droop under the weight of countless raindrops, creating an endless, rustling symphony. After the relentless downpours from the nearby bay, the streams and wetlands of Namdapha are rejuvenated and lush, covered in carpets of new grass and aquatic plants. This very place is home to a resident, both magnificent and gentle, the swamp deer. With their powerful, muscular bodies and wide, branching antlers, like a crown bestowed by nature itself, they move deliberately through the marshland, leaving deep imprints in the soft mud. Swamp deer typically gather in herds, leisurely grazing on grasses and aquatic vegetation, sometimes submerging themselves halfway in the water to escape the oppressive heat of the rainforest. By day, the herd roams across the damp meadows, the marshes and stream banks to graze on tender grass, the leaves of shrubs, or underwater vegetation. As the sun climbs higher, they often submerge themselves in the marshlands to cool their bodies and escape the torment of insects. During the mating season, the stags become intensely aggressive, using their powerful antlers to battle for dominance and the right to mate. Despite their imposing stature, swamp deer are remarkably vigilant. At the slightest unusual sound, the entire herd instantly plunges into the safety of deep water to escape from predators. It is this very combination of the herd's strength, their cautious instincts, and their unique adaptation to a waterlogged world that has enabled their survival in the unforgiving wilderness of Namdapha. Leaving the tropical forests of Namdapha behind, our journey takes us to Khunjerab National Park, a frozen jewel nestled in the far north of Pakistan, right on the border with China. In stark contrast to the endless green of the rainforest, Khunjerab reveals itself as a vast plateau cloaked in ice and snow. At an altitude of over 4,000 meters above sea level, this is where the majestic Karakoram mountain range pierces the sky. Where the sky is so high and clear, it feels as if you could reach out and touch the clouds. Khunjerab is renowned not just for its pristine beauty, but for its rare and remarkable fauna, creatures extraordinarily adapted to the bitter cold. August in Khunjerab. The brief summer still fails to banish the chill of the high plateau. During the day, brilliant sunlight bathes the barren steppe. But as dusk descends, the cold sweeps back in, shrouding the mountainsides in a fine mist. High above, the peaks of the Karakoram range still cling to patches of white snow, glistening in the sun, like silver remnants of a winter that refuses to depart. At the mountain's base, a herd of Marco Polo sheep wanders. Their magnificent, spiraling horns catch an otherworldly light in the crimson twilight. They graze on sparse tufts of dry grass sprouting from rock crevices, seemingly unfazed by the unforgiving climate. In this landscape, caught between summer and winter, the steady tread of these magnificent sheep becomes a resilient rhythm of life, a testament to the adaptive power of life, in a land where ice and summer sun exist side by side. On the lower slopes of Khunjerab, where the steppe stretches out, dotted with hardy scrub, we find the Kiang, a wild ass with a powerful muscular frame. Their reddish-brown coats gleam under the summer sun, and their short manes stand erect. They gallop in small herds, leaving a trail of dust that melts into the mountain mist. Unlike the agile climbers such as the Marco Polo sheep, the Kiang choose the gentle, sloping valleys, where green grass still thrives after the rainy season. They typically gather in herds of a few dozen. The lead animal stands vigilant, its head held high, its ears swiveling constantly, scanning for any unusual sound. And when danger appears, the entire herd bolts like the wind. Their pounding hooves beat a rhythm on the rocky ground, carrying the fierce life force of a species that has adapted to the harshness of the high mountains. At lower elevations, temperate forests begin to spread out with pine, cypress, and deep green birch. The tracks of the Kiang remain on the trail, leading out to a clearing at the forest edge. Although they are natives of the high steppes, they sometimes venture down into the lower forest regions to find tender grass and clear streams after the rains have passed through the region. The sight of their reddish-brown bodies stands out against the green tapestry of the temperate forest, creating a picture of stark contrast. At once wild and serene, like a quiet breath, in the arduous journey across the highlands. A world of ice. As the August summer sun shines upon the Karakoram range, the vast sheets of ice, built up all winter, begin to fracture. From high in the rocky crevices, streams of meltwater flow down, forming small, crystal-clear streams, meandering through the Khunjerab Valley. The water is frigid, as clear as crystal, mirroring the vast blue sky. Along the stream banks, tender shoots of grass push through, becoming a precious lifeline for the northern dragonfly. They lay their eggs at the water's edge, where the nymphs will spend months developing in the frigid water before taking to the wing. Each pass of the dragonfly is like a silken thread, weaving a vibrant tapestry across the water's mirrored surface. A testament that, even in the harshness of this icy world, of the Khunjerab, life tenaciously finds a way to take hold and thrive. Further down, cold, arid steppes line the valleys and the banks of meltwater streams. Temperate forests stretch like green ribbons across the Himalayan slopes. This is a realm of pine and cypress, of oak and birch, where towering canopies form a lush green ceiling, filtering the sun into dappled shafts of light. Upon a thick carpet of fallen leaves, Streams trickle over moss-covered boulders, bringing the moisture that sustains this entire ecosystem. It transforms the temperate forest into a vibrant realm, where trees, wildlife, and birdsong blend into the endless symphony of the Himalayas. It is within these temperate forests that we encounter the red-faced macaque, the most boisterous resident of the Himalayas. Their pink faces stand in stark contrast to their brownish-gray fur as they gather in large, bustling troops, weaving through the high canopy or congregating by streams to find ripe fruit, chestnuts, and tender new shoots. Their calls echo, branches rustle, mingling with their mischievous antics, and their noisy squabbles, turning the once serene forest into a theater of life. This macaque not only displays remarkable intelligence and vitality, but is also a testament to the incredible adaptability of the creatures living in this majestic mountain range. As October arrives, the Himalayan sky gradually takes on a silvery gray hue. Cold winds sweep down from the high peaks, carrying a biting chill. On the towering, seemingly endless peaks, the first snowflakes of the season begin to fall. A dusting of white begins to cloak the jagged cliffs. The grasslands, scorched gold by the dry summer, now fall silent. Young ibex and Himalayan blue sheep trudge on, seeking sustenance, their tracks sharply etched in the thin layer of snow. It is as if time itself has slowed, painting a portrait of serene and majestic grandeur. It is a harbinger of the brutal winter about to descend upon the entire mountain range. As heavy, leaden clouds drift down into the valleys, winter has truly returned to the Himalayas. A thick blanket of snow buries the trails and mountain slopes, transforming the temperate forest into a stark, white sea. Winds from the high north howl through the rock crevices, whipping up blinding blizzards. The air thins, breath crystallizes into vapor even in the light of day. Small villages, nestled at the foot of the mountains, are cast into isolation. Only the flickering flames in ancient homes stand against the bitter cold. October arrives and the warmth of summer fades to a distant memory. On slopes that were once vibrant green with the new life of spring, now only a parched golden hue remains in the cold wind. The wildflowers, once brilliant in the warm sun, have now faded, leaving behind withered petals to drift into the misty haze. The glacial stream, which once shimmered like threads of silver, now recedes, its surface rippling with the first chill of winter. And high on the mountain summits, the season's first snowflakes begin their slow descent. Silently blanketing the stone in a thin layer of white, it is a reminder that the fleeting summer has truly come to an end. Winter descends like an uninvited guest, yet one that is always on time. The north wind howls through the mountain passes, unleashing blinding blizzards. The sky lowers into a somber, leaden gray. Every breath freezes into a plume of white. For the creatures that survived the summer, the year's most brutal test now begins. The yaks, silent companions of the high plateau, are also moving to lower elevations, relying on their thick, shaggy coats to endure the biting cold. Himalayan gorals huddle together on the rocky slopes, searching for the last blades of dry grass beneath the snow. On the barren steppe, Marco Polo sheep graze methodically on withered tufts of grass. Their magnificent horns are dusted with frost. Herds of Kiang, the Tibetan wild ass, also band together. Their steps have lost the eagerness of summer, now falling heavy on the hard-packed snow. Upon the ice-clad cliffs, the snow leopard moves like a ghost, its steps soft and lethal. Troops of red-faced macaques huddle on high branches, clinging to one another for warmth in the bitter cold. Occasionally, the forest echoes with the harsh, dry alarm call of the troop's sentinel, a long, drawn-out cry that reverberates through the valley, a stark reminder of the lurking presence of a predator. And this is the Himalayas in winter, a place where life is not ostentatious but enduring, where every living being, from the smallest and most vulnerable to the mountain sovereign, the snow leopard, writes its own story of survival. If summer is a brilliant prelude, then winter is the closing chapter, silent yet intense. As a curtain of snow fills the frame, we leave the roof of the world with a promise to return with the new season's winds, to once again listen to the heartbeat of the mountains, the heartbeat of nature and of ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Himalayas, the magnificent home to countless species. Every landscape, every creature here reminds us of how fragile and yet how resilient nature truly is. If you found this film meaningful, if you enjoyed this journey, please leave a like, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Join us as we continue to explore new frontiers and the wondrous stories of the natural world. We will see you on the next journey.